Hey guys, it's Star the Flippin' Hippo. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel at Flippin' Hippos, and welcome into Back to Basics number 13. We're going to talk about inventory as far as storing it and having a system to easily locate it when you need to pull it for shipping. So you need to first figure out where you're going to be storing your inventory. How much room do you have for it? Are you going to have a volume-based business? Because if so, you're going to need a lot more room to store your stuff. Then once you decide where it's going to go, you need to figure out what type of items you're going to be selling. If you're going to be doing used clothing, bins are the number one best way to go. And by bins, I mean those big totes, the Rubbermaid totes with the lids. I have a link in my description box to Amazon to buy them in bulk. You get like 8 or 12 in the pack, I can't remember, but you get a good amount for the price. Or you can go to Walmart and they're like $3 a piece. Sometimes you pay a little bit more if you want like the designer colors or the clear ones. But those are the number one best way to store clothing. If you're going to be doing upscale designer clothing or suits or anything that you don't want to fold to store, you can invest in a portable closet, and I'll put a link to that as well in the description box to show you what I mean. You can get them on Amazon. They're really inexpensive, and again, you can also get those at Walmart, but they're just like two metal rods with canvas thing that zips and you hang clothes in there. We've got one upstairs that we put our nicer designer clothes in, jackets, leather coats, denim jean jackets and stuff like that. Anything you don't want to fold to store is going to be bulky inside of a bin, because you want to utilize your space to the best of your ability. You want to not have, just 10 items in a bin. So if you got really big items, you might want to consider hanging those up as well. If you're going to be doing figurines, glassware, mugs, collectibles, anything like that, shelves are your best way to go. Again, those are inexpensive at Walmart, and I'll make sure there's a link down below to the ones that we personally use. We really like them. They're plastic and they're popped together, so you don't have to build anything. The ones that we use, no tools required. They're like plastic poles you pop together, but the shelves are really thick and sturdy. And like I said, I'll link you to the exact ones we use. We have 3 of them. 2 we actually use for boxes and poly bags and items we need for shipping. We store them on the shelves, and we have masking tape labeling everything so it's nice and neat. Your top load, medium flat, side load, medium flat, things like that. We have all our polys organized. And then on the 3rd one that we have, we store a lot of our hard goods. And they're just amazing. And when we move, or if we ever move, they'll just pop right apart and pop right back in when we get to where we're going. Additionally, if you're going to be doing things like electronics, you're going to want shelves as well to store like DVD, VCR combos, cameras. Phones, you can get the little tiny plastic bins or any kind of basket. You can just pick those up while you're out thrifting. We have like a wicker basket and then a clear bucket that Keith keeps the phones in. And that's the same with video games, movies, anything like that. You can store in baskets or tinier bins. Ties are the same. Ties don't need to go in the big bins. You can actually get ties pre-ready to ship after you photograph them. You can get them all rolled up and then put them in a Ziploc bag and store them in the smaller buckets and bins so they're easier to find. And then books are probably something that's going to take up a lot of room, but you could put those on shelves, and if you stack them on top of one another instead of spying out, you can sometimes get more room for the money. You just kind of have to play with it. And then plush is the last thing I'll touch upon. We store our medium and small plush in those garden leaf bags. They look like trash bags, but they're lawn size. They're real big. You guys know what I'm talking about. The giant leaf bags. We store our plush in those. We try to keep all medium-sized ones together and then all small ones together, just because when you go to dig for a tiny plush, if it's buried on the bottom of a bunch of larger ones, it's harder to find and it takes more time and it's just a lot more effort. So we try to keep the little guys together, and the little guys will only fill up the bag like halfway. So again, you don't have one of those tall bags full of like 200 plush you're digging through. So we'll fill those up about halfway, and then the medium-sized ones will fill it up all the way. And we have a room for them that they go in. And then the super duper big jumbo sized, like Henry or bigger than Henry, we actually have a shelf, and then we have, for some reason, we have an extra bunk bed that's put together in our storage room. So we store on there as well. So the bigger plush, again, you can find a shelf for them. You can lay them on a tarp up in a storage room or somewhere like that. Because 2 or 3 of those will fill a bag. And then you're just looking at having more bags. Now, the way we label our bins, I've actually got one of our sheets here. Guys, we just use scratch paper. This is one of our old scan sheets from the post office. This is something that printed off of my computer and was incorrect. So whenever we have scratch papers, or leftover scan sheets or anything like that, we save them and use them as scratch paper. You can see here again, I have another scan sheet. This has my notes for this video on. So we save all of these sheets of paper instead of just throwing them away, to repurpose them, and we use the backs for our labels for our bins. So on the big bins, the front of the Rubbermaid totes, or whatever you want to call them, you can get a half-size sheet of paper and write the bin number. You can get 2 pieces of tape. Use your free eBay tape if you have it, you guys. If you have a store with eBay and you get the coupon each month for free shipping supplies, use that tape. Yes, it's just 2 strips, one on the top and the bottom. You literally don't need to tape this onto your bin on all 4 sides. That's just a waste of tape. You can put 1 piece on the bottom, 1 piece on the top, and it'll make it so it will stay on the bin. These might, curl up, but you don't want to use a lot of tape, and use your free tape if you have it. And you can label your bins however you guys want to label yours. You can go 1 to 0. We do each letter of the alphabet by itself, and then with a 1 and a 2 through 0. We have a lot of inventory. And then I will put PF if they're jeans or other items that go in padded flats, just so that we know, looking at that bin, whether or not it's going to have poly bags or padded flats inside. We do pre-package our items before we store them. And then on the bags of plush, we just number those. So it's bag 1 through however many bags we're ever going to end up with of plush. And I just put a number. And again, I just put 2 strips of tape. I don't tape all 4 sides, just the top and the bottom. So when I pull out a new bag, to start a new bag of plush, I will lay it flat, tape this on the bag, and then start filling it. Speaking of pre-packaging, that's something you're going to have to decide. As part of your inventory system, are you just going to put clothing items, say you're got this E1, are you just going to put the clothes in there folded nicely in little stacks, and clothes in E1, you're just going to dig through the clothes in the stacks, or are you going to pre-package them? When we first started, we used to just fold our clothes and put them in the bin until it was full, and then start a new one. That got to be, well, 1, it was harder to find stuff inside of there, but number 2, as you start filling up more bins, especially if you're going to be doing a volume-based business, you don't know when you have room in your old bins. So if you start on A and you get all the way to J, what if you've sold half of A? You have room in there, and you just keep continuing to make new bins. So we decided that we would start pre-packaging our items for 3 reasons. 1, they are so much easier to find when we're looking for them, when we're pulling for shipping. 2, if it's pre-packaged, we have the exact weight in the listing. We can pull it, label it, and ship it. And number 3, it enables us to know when we have room in bins and to keep reusing the same bins over and over without continually creating more all the time, which was a cost as we bought more and more bins, but it's a waste of space. So we know the way we do things in store in our poly bags, if they are a first class item and they're folded and pre-packaged in their poly bag, we can fit 35 in a bin, neatly and nice, 1 through 10, and then it's like 11 through 20, and then we have 5 and 5 on the top. And padded flats fit about 20. You can get, I think it's like 1 through 10, and then 4 to 5 on the side, and a couple more on the top. So we know that each bin has 1 through 35 if it's a first class bin, or if it's one of these padded flats, it has 1 through 20. So by that I mean, like in our R bin, here's number 1. So we sold the thing that was in the slot 1 in bin R, so this tag is now here for us to use when we're bagging and tagging. So the pre-packaging system, we really love it. The way that works is, say Keith is doing a men's button front shirt, he will put it on the mannequin, get his photos on the mannequin. He will then fold the shirt, pre-package it in the poly bag, place it on our scale, and place one of these on top and take a photo. Then when he lists that shirt, he not only has the weight already there for him, exact weight that he can put in the listing, so it's ready to go to print the label when it sells. We don't have to worry about weighing it or anything like that. And number 2, he has that photograph to let him know where it is located, so he can put our system, which I'm going to talk about in 1 second. He can utilize our system to let us know where our items are when they sell. So whenever we pull items for shipping, we pull their tags off of either the poly bag or the padded flat. We have a separate container for the padded flat tags. The tags go in there. We photograph the item, we pre-package it, we pull a tag out, we put it on there, and it goes in that bin in that slot. And we keep utilizing the same slots over and over again as things sell. Their tags go in there, we reuse them. We really like this system. It keeps you from continually buying bins all the time, not utilizing all of your space, not having half-empty bins. You're just consistently, as things sell, pulling their tags and reusing them on the new items. We really like it, especially for that reason, but the second reason, best reason, is because you've already got the weight and you don't have to do any extra work at shipping time. So that's why we like to pre-package. The drawback to that, though, is you are going to have to make sure you've ordered enough padded flats and poly bags in your inventory of your shipping supplies that you can keep bagging everything as you're photographing it to list it, and you're not going to run out as you're listing more and more items. Some people don't like to use their shipping supplies until they're about to ship. You can kind of get around that, though, if you wanted to have the exact weight in your listing to save time at shipping, but not pre-package. You can put your item on the scale and see the weight and weigh the poly bag or whatever, know how much it's going to weigh. Then you do need a system in place to tell you where your items are. So when they sell, you need to know where they are to pull them. So we use the SKU line or the SKU line in the eBay listing. The buyers never see the information you put in that line. That line is there just for you, and you alone will see it. Your buyers will never see anything. So we use that line exclusively for information that we need. We put the month and the year the item was first listed, the starting price that we wanted for that item. That way, if it sits around for a while, we know what we originally wanted if it's gone down. And then we put its location. So I would put, if I listed a pair of silver jeans this afternoon, I would put March 2019 50 R1. And I would know when that item sold, it was in bin R, slot 1. But I also like to have the date and the original price in that SKU line. Some people put the location of their item in their titles. You'll see that all the time on eBay. I don't really recommend that for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you're putting the location of your item in your title, you're taking up valuable real estate space that's there for your keywords. You want to use as many good keywords to describe your items as you can in your title so that you show up good in the searches, and you don't want to be wasting that space on the location. Also, buyers aren't searching for R1 or D2, 3, or Z5, right? So it's just a waste of space. It could affect you in the searches too. If they are specifically looking, say, for silver Suki bootcut size 28, you may show up lower in the search than everyone else that has that pair of jeans in that style and size because yours has the extra characters in it. Also, some people put it in the description. Sorry, I was reading my paper. Some people put it in the description, and you can do that, but then you have to kind of dig for it. You can set your seller hub up when you're looking at your items that sold, that are awaiting shipment. You can set that up to have a column for your SKU line, so you can literally be looking at, all 10 items of yours that sold. You've got that column right there. You can see all 10 of the SKU lines right there and know where your items are. If you're putting it in the description, you're going to have to open another tab or another window to see the item's description and scroll all the way down to get the location. It's just an extra step and extra time. You can save so much time by just having those locations in the SKU line and a column set up for that on the back end. So you just pull up your awaiting shipments and everything's right there for you. So that is how we do our inventory, how we store it, the system that we use, and how we use our slots over and over again to save space and money, and the little tips and tricks we've got that save us time. I think the best thing that we ever did was when we switched to the bag and tag, the pre-pack. It saves so much time in shipping to already have that weight. And it takes 2 seconds to pull something off of a mannequin or off of a flat board, fold it, put it in what it's going to ship in, lay it on your scale, pull a tag, put it there, and take a photo. That photo won't go on your listing. It's just so that when you're listing, you can see the weight and the location. Put the location in your SKU line, the weight in your listing. Even if you're doing free shipping, you have to enter weights when it comes time to print the labels. So having that already filled out for you will save so much more time. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the process of shipping, and I'll delve into that a little bit more, because our inventory and our shipping kind of go hand in hand, the way we do things to best manage our time and make things easier and more streamlined for us. I do want to add real quick, you can keep a spreadsheet for your inventory. I've heard that some people do. Rather than putting anything in the listing, SKU line or otherwise. Some people will have a big spreadsheet with every item that they have listed and where it is located in their inventory system. Personally, if you need that for yourself to be organized and that makes you feel good about your life and you like to be really super organized, by all means, go ahead and do that. Like I always say, everybody's got to do for their business what's best for them, and you have to do things that make sense to you, and you have to do things in an order that works for you. If you need a spreadsheet, do it, but if you don't really need one, it's kind of just a waste of time. It's extra work. You're now typing out basically the item twice, once in your listing in the title and the description, and once again on a spreadsheet, and you have to pull that spreadsheet up and dig for things when they sell and find it in the spreadsheet and where it's located. If you have it in the SKU line, you're just pulling up that shipping page, and you're saving yourself the extra step of putting stuff in the spreadsheet. So if you need that for you, or if you do really, really low volume, that would be something you could do. But if you're doing higher volume and or don't really need a spreadsheet, I wouldn't recommend the extra time that it takes to do that. that's it for me, you guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you have any more questions, let me know. I do answer all of the questions that I get, and I love to hear from you guys. Do me a favor before you leave and smash that like button. It does help the channel. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to our channel and help us feed a hungry hippo. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at Flippin' Hippos. Until next time, you guys have a good night.